Hi, I just want to do a short review of some of the magnetic cubes that I made. I'll start with this one, which what happened is, originally I wanted to do 3 WuQues, but when I unboxed this particular WuQue, I discovered that there was a defect somewhere in one of the corner pieces, so I didn't magnetize this one and I didn't even bother to set it up. It's still very bad in the out of the box state. Next, moving on to the black WuQue. This one, I got it a bit earlier than the rest, and I played with it for a while already. Then I magnetized it. So, okay, compared to the original magnetic WuQue that I made, the original one actually had very strong outer layers. I used N50 and N50. But in this particular one, every pair of magnets that I use contain one of these N50 magnets and one of the smaller N42 magnets. And what happened is the outer layers are a lot nicer. They no longer feel as choppy as the original cube that I did. And the inner layers are also quite nice. And although I used the same strength for outer and inner layers, I actually played around with the distance. So the outer layer ones are further away from the core than the inner layer ones, and they feel quite similar in strength. So actually, to be honest, this is my second favorite cube that I've ever used. And comparing it with my main speed cube, which is the magnetic new batch mini also, it's really feel that would differentiate these two. I actually get the same performance on them, which I slightly prefer the more flexible and softer feel of the outsuit. But this is quite close. I also like it a lot. It's a bit blockier because it's an WuQue, but it's also quite stable. And both the outer and inner layers also turn quite smoothly. So moving on to this stickerless WuQue. What I like about this one is it's very light, and the layers seem to turn very fast. I think it's partially because it's less broken in than the other WuQue. Right? The outer layers are a bit crunchier, the inner layers are smooth. If you compare it to the black one, both the outers and the inners feel smooth. Whereas this one, the outers feel a little bit crunchy. The inner layers are still okay, they're quite smooth. As for magnetic strength, it's also about equal. You can feel the magnets for both the outers and the inner layers, although the inners are a bit stronger for this one. Moving on to the last cube, this is the Cyclone Boys FeiTeng. And actually I just want to magnetize this cube because I wanted to see what it's like. And honestly, it's actually quite nice. So, okay, the problem with this is the outer and the inner layers are actually quite different in strength. The outer layers can barely be felt unless you turn very slowly, whereas the inner layers have a more prominent click. But despite that, this is still overall a very nice cube, and I can actually get very close to my normal times on this, even though it's smaller than what I'm used to. If you're looking for a smaller 4x4 cube and you don't really like 62 or 60, then I think this one will be the way to go. And I have one here that is magnetized.